This is a follow-up video of the video I did on the Maracaibo Lake in Venezuela with the oil well blowouts. Well, I'm up to like 500 now. I've spent about 20 hours searching this lake, and there's still a lot more to be found. I mean, I find an average of like 40 to 50 every couple of hours or something now, and it's just unbelievable. All these marks are oil and natural gas well blowouts, pipeline blowouts, you know, rigs that are leaking. It's fucking mind-boggling how much destruction is going on in this lake. Every one of those marks, you know, is a blowout of some sort. It goes on and on and on. It covers an area about 67 miles long by about 15 miles wide. That's where all the infrastructure is for the oil. And this is mind-boggling that there's no news on this. You know, I'll put some links in the, under the video. There is some short videos on YouTube. It gives you an example how bad it is, but this really shows the scale of this. This is mind-boggling that this has been allowed to go on. Venezuela shouldn't even be allowed to you know, run their oil operation, because it's pretty amazing. They just intercepted 3 oil tankers that were coming from Iran, in a country that, you know, is second in the world for the most oil reserves. Yet they're buying oil, and no wonder it's all leaking out. It's going in the atmosphere. You know, it's just every one of these marks is you know, an oil blowout, you know, or natural gas well blowout, you know, from a different date, from about 2004 up till 2020. These are all, you know, well blowouts. And here's one, for example, I had to, you know, put a description here on this tag just to show, you know, you don't see anything here on this date. And this is 2/11/218, and this is a huge gusher, you know, and there's a lot of them like this. Let me find the date here. There it is. This is way out in the boonies. I don't think this is a pipeline because it's too far away from most of the other oil infrastructure. But it's, you know, it's 70 feet across this way and 60 feet across that way on the, you know, the main plume. This outer plume is about 120 feet in diameter. And that's just one. I'm up to 500. It's just mind-boggling how many of these there are. You know, it's been going on for at least 2 decades. I looked up when Hugo Chavez went into power, was 1998. And this all started right after he went into power, because I found some footage on here that was like 2001, and I couldn't find not one well blowout. It's all started after he came into power. And now Maduro's in, and it's even worse. You know, there's been no attempt to stop any of these. I mean, there's no ships by them or anything trying to stop them. And there's so many, I can't even begin to show you them all. I'm just showing you the marks, and I'll show you some that I've marked out so I could find them on here. Like this one, big gusher. And I'll find the date here for that one. And let's see if I can find it. It's on there somewhere, because I don't put marks on there for nothing. Come on, where is it? There was one right next to it. Right here. This is one here. That was 10/15/2017. Let's see if we can find this one here. There's that big one there. Yeah, here it is. 4/6/2019. These are big ones. These are like up to 80 feet across, this bubble plume. And then you have this outer bubble plume where the bubble action is pushing away the algae and other oil and stuff that's floating around. But it's just amazing how many there are. This is an environmental disaster like no other, but you don't hear no news. And every day you just go around and you can find them. Like this one here's a big one, you know, and this is at that date. And here's one here, you know. It goes on and on. And like I said, at the rate I'm finding them, I'm figuring there's at least 1,000 or more. Because I've already, you know, I thought I was gonna hit 200 and be like, wow, and now I'm at 500. It's just mind-boggling. And they're literally everywhere. And like all you gotta do is like here, you don't see any under these, but when you change the date, you know, there's one right here on that date. They're everywhere. Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro have destroyed Venezuela. Not just the economy, they're destroying the whole environment. This is a crime against the planet. So here's two here. Every one of these marks represents an oil, you know, a well blowout of some sort. Here's two right here on a different date. 1, 2, 3 actually. And it just goes on and on. And all this sheen around here, this is oil floating in the lake. All these spots are, you know, oil platforms and, you know, drill rigs and so on. There's literally got to be 2,000-3,000 of them in this same area where all the place marks are. And it's not just blowout, it's direct, like rigs that are half sunken, leaking and all that. Their whole oil infrastructure is just in total shambles. If you go into their ports, they've got sunken ships and barges everywhere. This is like, here's one I just found right now. You see that? That's a new one without a mark. Look at that. You know, and I'm already up to 500. This is unbelievable. It just never ends. I pretty much figure I've got enough. I don't really need to mark anymore. It shows the true extent of this devastation. And all this lines and stuff, that's just oil sheets floating all over. And you got all these different resolutions. Some it comes out clearer than others. Let me see. There's there's so many of them. Get lost on them all. Where's those big gushers? You got these ones here. Here, I'll pick these 6 marks. Yeah, that's pretty mind-boggling that this has been left to go on and there's no news really being aired about. Here's one down here. There's one here I didn't even mark. Another one. They're everywhere. I found some tricks how to find them now. As soon as you find 2 or 3, you gotta check through all the dates, and then you'll see new ones pop up in the general area. But it's crazy, man, how many of these there are. I mean, this is just crimes against the planet, let alone humanity and all the animals. I mean, imagine the poor fish and the birds that gotta land in that lake. See here. Here's one here under that mark. Here's one under that mark. That was 2011. And basically you just keep hitting the mark and all those place marks will show up a blowout. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row there. That's probably a pipeline that's leaking in. I found ones on here that have been leaking for 3 years. If you go back on the satellite photos, you can see the same well has been leaking. You know, some are 2 years, some are years, some are 1.5 years. It's just unbelievable. But this is the scale of it. When you beam out here, every one of these marks is a well blowout. And there's a lot more to be found. I just found 2 doing this video, right? And that's after 20 hours of searching. and I'm very thorough with it. I don't just put a mark down unless there's a blowout there. It's easy to, the blowouts have a signature that's like no other, you know. Here's a boat right here, it leaves that V trail, you know, that in the wake. Here's a boat, really easy to discern, but you know, the blowouts, you know, there's this little round thing and then has this bubble signature around it. So, you know, they're definitely blowouts. And like here's let me show you this, all the oil that's floating around, you know, different dates. It's a big area and it takes a lot of time to cover all this. That's like, all this green stuff is algae. A lot of the years it has a lot of algae on this lake, and no wonder, because you can imagine all the other pollution they're dumping in there. You know, it's not just the oil and natural gas. But here's a, you know, good example. This is all oil floating around in this lake. All this is oil. You know, just everywhere. And I've looked at all the shorelines, they're full of it. And then if you go to the videos on YouTube, you can see just how bad it is. I mean, they need to do a way more comprehensive, you know, documentary on this. This is mind-boggling. These people shouldn't even be allowed to run their oil infrastructure. It almost needs to be taken over. This is beyond belief. The destruction of the planet here. And you gotta remember, all that natural gas is going in the atmosphere. It's not just staying in that lake. And they talk about global warming. I mean, somebody with some flow mechanics must, you know, that knows the oil industry needs to go in here and mark up all these wells, figure out, you know, put a number out. I mean, it's got to be billions and billions of cubic meters of natural gas have been blasted out in the atmosphere, and who knows how many billions of gallons of oil have gone out into this lake and have sunk, and every fish and crab's got oil on it. You know, it's just crazy. I mean, the BP Macondo well in the Gulf, the final tally was 59,000 barrels per day, and that was one well. I find ones on here that are 85 to 90 feet across, the bubble plumes. They're huge. I've seen them on videos, little ones, and they're just gushing the water. I mean, those big ones, the water's got to be bubbling up 6 feet out of the water. So you can only imagine how much natural gas is coming out of something like that. And like these, you know, these are big gushers. These are 70, 80 feet across. And it's just mind-boggling, the destruction going on here. So, I mean, it's billions. Billions of cubic meters. I would say at least more than 1 billion gallons of oil have spilt into this lake over the, you know, it's gone on for at least 2 decades. And it's all falling apart. You can see the, you know, sunken rigs, and, you know, I just can't even find it all. It would take too much time here. And like, here's a massive gusher here. You know, all over. And some of them are really close to the, there's the 2 there. I think there's 3 in that area. Here's 2 massive. These are about 60, 70 feet across the bubble plume. Here's another big, massive gusher here. You know, they are just everywhere. And I don't know what to say, but this has got to stop. These people shouldn't be allowed to run their oil infrastructure. I mean, this is crazy. Over and out.